Okay, today in Riverview, we just opened the new Just Chicken Wings. Thank you so much. See you soon.
I'm Essi Tadrus, founder and executive chef for Southern Luv BBQ. Southern Luv BBQ is a fast casual barbecue restaurant that serves up amazing barbecue. We've been able to develop 6 regional sandwiches that really incorporate barbecue from every sort of capital region of the US. So we're very, very proud of it. We cannot wait to serve you guys soon.
First of all, welcome to our podcast. You will be our popular success story.
Thank you.
I want to talk with this because this first story you're opening, it's going to be your first successful story coming soon. I want to show this video a few years later and see how many
stores you have
and all the stuff,
That's awesome.
Yeah, please just introduce yourself, your name.
Sure. I'm Chef Essi. I'm the founder and executive chef for Southern Luv. Southern Luv is a fast casual barbecue restaurant, really taking a regional approach of barbecue. And we've been able to kind of put this together and have some really amazing sandwiches that kind of touch of every region of barbecue. We make some mac and cheese bowls that are made. Everything here is made from scratch.
It's a lot of love.
It's a
right?
Yes.
Really, I love how you really thought about absolutely everything.
Yes. Thank you.
I am owning this a lot of business, and I know how it's hard, to start a business. And I saw how you smile, how you're comfortable all this time. It's really, it's crazy to see opening restaurants on this time, right?
Yeah, for sure. For me, I think you just got to be comfortable being uncomfortable, right? I think our confidence comes from our product.
Absolutely.
I spent a lot of time in the kitchen developing, and I spent a lot of time putting this together, putting the pieces together to be able to launch the right way and be able to have legs, and to be able to be able to franchise this brand and be able to offer it in a way that is easy for other people to execute it. It is a weird time to do business, right?
Yeah.
Like labor is crazy.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, this is my question, because I saw your price and I can't say you're crazy putting the price like this for real, but I think you have your secret for that.
I do, yeah. So, I mean, our biggest thing is and people say this all the time, like, man, your prices are how do you do it? So, one, I think the biggest thing for us is that we want to make sure that we're super sustainable and we're affordable. So we're kind of a volume business, right? So we want to be able to offer the guest experience where that they can afford to eat it 3-4 times a week. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
The average customer goes and eats barbecue once every couple of weeks. Why? Because it's expensive. I mean, everybody loves barbecue, right? I mean, I would eat barbecue over a burger or over pizza any day of the week. But when you're going and you're paying $18 for a brisket sandwich, you know what I mean? And it's
because it's meat and
it's expensive.
It's
right?
really expensive.
So what we've been able to do is we've been able to capitalize on what we've done is basically create a supply line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we smoke everything at one facility. The reason why we do that is we want to have the most consistent product. We want to have the buying power from one farmer, one manufacturer, one company. All right. So what that does, it gives me the buying power to buy fresh protein, fresh meat, fresh, and we cook everything in one facility. So I have a consistent product across the platform. So, when you're talking about other barbecue restaurants that are smoking their meat on site, you're talking about, a lot of labor. The product is, for brisket, we smoke brisket, let's say just to give you an example, 12 hours at 203.
Okay.
So you can't just put 1 or 2 briskets in a smoker. You need to load it so that the labor makes sense of it. When you're smoking brisket, the reason why, I don't know if people really understand it or not, but you have to trim brisket in a way. You're cooking something that's very lean and very fatty at the same time. Something is going to be off, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Naturally.
Absolutely. Yes.
So for us, what we do is I only buy a certain cut of briskets. When we trim it, we trim the fat, we trim it. When we have it here, there's no waste. So the end user, they're basically getting a product. Now we're able to just slice it and it's ready to go. What I used to do was go and you trim the brisket, and briskets lose 30% of their weight.
Absolutely.
And that's just trimming the fat and trimming and really kind of once the product smokes, it loses water weight because all the moisture is coming out of it.
For sure.
So how do you calculate that in your food cost? And we couldn't get an accurate food cost.
Absolutely.
And something that you're like, oh yeah, my food cost is 30%. We're doing great. And it's like, No, it's not really 30% because you're not accounting for all the waste. And then the other issue is like when you're smoking, if you're 1 or 2 degrees off, or if you're like 4 or 5 minutes off, that entire batch is wasted.
Yes.
Because it would be either undercooked and you can't can't go up, or if it's overcooked and it's dried, then you can't sell it. And some people do sell it. I mean, it's it's kind of crazy, right? Because it's like my biggest thing here was how do we get the most consistent food safe product without having any waste, right? And it's affordable for everybody to eat. Well, that labor savings that I have in the restaurant, we just pass it along to the customer. That's why our pricing is so cheap. The other thing is that we make everything from scratch. So our barbecue sauce we make from scratch, the ranch, the honey mustard, the blue cheese, everything is from scratch. So you're, for example, like you could buy a case of Ken's blue cheese, right? This is probably one of my favorite blue cheeses on the market. Now it's not as good as ours, right? Because of course it's not. It's going to be, ours is made from scratch. Ken's is manufactured preservative.
Yeah.
It's different, right?
Sure, yeah.
A case of Ken's blue cheese might cost you $80.
Mm-hmm.
I could make that same case my cost for probably under $35.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's a big difference in terms of A, the quality of the product, and B, the actual way that we prepare it and store it. Now, our blue cheese only lasts 6 days.
Wow.
Right, because we don't put any preservatives in it. So we don't, there's no added preservatives. So
when we talk about quality, of course, it's mean if I come at 11 o'clock, eat the brisket here, and at 10 o'clock it's going to be exactly the same.
100%. Right? For barbecue, is that sometimes you go to barbecue restaurants and the product's cold.
Yes.
Why is it cold? And the answer is it's very simple. When you're smoking something, the internal temperature of brisket needs to reach, for it to be soft and tender, it needs to reach about 200. Now you take it off the smoker. Now you have to, and for food safety, you have to keep that product at a minimum of 135 to be able to serve it.
Yes.
So that means that the product's going to continually cook.
Of course.
So how do you stop the cooking process? You can't.
And no way.
Right.
You cannot.
You can't do it. So unless you're like, one of my favorite places, unless you're like a Franklin's Barbecue where you're waking up at like,
no, you
know what I mean? And you got a 2-hour line down the street for his product. Mm-hmm. And these guys are getting in at 11 o'clock at night, they load their smokers and they sell out by 1 o'clock. But that, I don't know if that model is scalable to the point where what we have here in Southern Luv, where it is like super scalable and super consistent.
Yeah, because you are looking of course, to grow and to make this name
a household brand.
Yeah, absolutely, and to make franchising.
Yes.
And the first thing I'm wondering when I came here is you don't have any hood kitchen system.
Correct.
Right?
Yes. So one of the things that we were really, really focused on was making this a completely ventless, hoodless concept. So the cost of putting in hoods, and I just, I put them in all the time. They go in and you're 60 grand, 70 grand, 75,000,
Yeah,
and it's like, man, that's such a big chunk of money.
Yeah.
How can we do this if we want to open in small spaces? After this counter service, I really don't need any more space, right? Like I don't need 2,000 square feet. I don't need 3,000 square feet. I just need something where somebody can come in, I can slice my brisket, I can slice my pork. So we said, okay, we need to be able to execute the model that's completely ventless. So we've been able to achieve that. So we can be completely ventless. We can open in as little as 600 square feet.
Wow.
600 square feet, right?
Okay.
And you can pump out some really amazing barbecue because the product that's it. It's like, it's ready. It's ready to go.
Yeah, because in my experience, I told you a little bit later, I already told you, I already opened almost 40 restaurants.
Yes.
And to open a restaurant, you have to spend at least 250 grand,
minimum.
300 minimum. If you want to open 600 square feet.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Now.
Correct.
You have another secret.
Right. Now what we've been able to do, right?
Yeah.
So now what we've been able to do, again, this is just through all of our experiences, all of our ups, our downs, right? So now we've been able to literally open up a Southern Luv for under 100K, including your FFE, including all your signage. When you're talking about getting the hood and getting the build out and the permitting, sometimes you could be behind in permitting 6-7 months.
Absolutely.
So now you're like behind,
yes.
You're paying negative cash flow that nobody budgets for, right? Because you're like, yeah, I'm gonna open in 2 months. In 2 months, and it's like, it's no way, man. No. It just doesn't happen, So we said, okay, how is it that we can open beautiful restaurants, right? Where the appeal is very attractive. Like when you walk in, how do you feel when you walk in? You feel very fresh. You feel very like you see everything happening. You see the meat being sliced in front of you. The guys making the mac and cheese to order. Like everything's in front of you. Like it's all prepared. It's an open kitchen. We have nothing to hide. We wanted an open kitchen feel with knowing that, look, we can open in 600 square feet literally anywhere.
My goodness.
You know, so yeah. I mean, this is
amazing.
Thank you.
So I think we can say it's a turnkey.
It is a turnkey, yes.
Solution, right?
Mohamed, one of the biggest challenges I've seen, and I've been doing this. I opened my first restaurant when I was 19, right? So one of the biggest challenges is that the labor is very different. The labor per hourly is much higher. Now, right now, I think the minimum wage in Florida is $12 an hour.
Absolutely.
$12.50, right?
Yeah.
So we don't pay $12 an hour. I mean, we might start somebody off at that, you know, above minimum, but we have a 90-day, basically every 30 days we give them a raise.
The program, yeah.
Right? So we have that program installed. But the great way that we look at it is how are you able to run a really great restaurant with not a ton of staff, with high quality staff that these guys can buy into your program? In order for you to do that, you need small space. You don't need a ton of stations. You just need a very efficient build out. And that's what we've been able to do. Out of all the restaurant menu items that you're like, oh, this sells really good. And we're like, okay, let's trim it down.
Yeah.
To like let's just trim it down to what we know. Okay, we got 3 salads, we got six regional sandwiches, we got breakfast items, we got mac bowls. We don't have too much on our menu, but they're executed really, really well.
Yeah, but this is the secret.
Yes, I think so.
Absolutely. You're doing really, really. I saw the location. We will open on Monday.
Monday, yes. Yeah, got it really good.
It's going to be the 26th.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
At 11 o'clock?
We're going to actually be open for breakfast. Not this week, but next week we'll be open for breakfast. Next week we'll have like a full schedule where we're opening at 7 in the morning, and then we close at 8 o'clock at night.
Okay.
So I'm running, like I'll get here at 5 in the morning, prepare, and then, you know, I help our team clean up at the night, so I'll leave here at 9, so I'm working 5 a.m. to 9, you know, to make sure that quality is there and to make sure that these guys are comfortably trained. You know, yesterday we had a food safety training all day, and, you know, all of our team members are all food safe certified.
Perfect.
They have to go through this program.
Absolutely.
Whether you have it or you don't, you have to go through our program.
Yeah.
We don't touch any food until that food safety program is done. And then we have a couple days of basically just making sure that you understand how to follow the recipe. So, you know, it's a ton of it has to do with making sure that these guys can go in, follow a recipe to a T. I try it, I say, okay, this is great, perfect, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
So within the next week, we'll be like fully onboarded and like ready to like.
It's like a soft opening, right?
Exactly.
Soft opening to make training,
Yes.
and this place is going to be the area or future franchisee can
Correct.
come and.
Yeah, so this will be a franchise training facility, and then we'll also be able, like corporately, right? We want to be able to try new menu items. We got to make sure that it works. We got to make sure that the customer feedback works, and we're able to execute it. So I strongly believe in being able to operate it. Me being able to operate it here every single day,
Okay.
gonna be worth it because we're building something so great, and I want to be able to like capture every single moment with
I
it.
understand.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yes.
So right now I would like to work on doing like a kind of small docu-series on Southern Luv and like how we prepare things every day, and you know, you get sort of a behind the scenes aspect of, you know, how are we making everything from scratch and how are we able to serve it?
I think you can do it because I feel you are really proud about what you do. And you can, of course, if you do something like this,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people are curious absolutely about what's happened about behind the scene, you know.
Yes.
When you put stuff like this, you know, like people can see what they are doing, you know.
Yes.
A lot of restaurants cannot do stuff like this. It's very fancy in the restaurant, but behind the kitchen,
Behind the kitchen, yeah.
some stuff are crazy, you know.
Yes. And my staff knows, like, I'm really fun and nice, and like I like joke around a lot. But when the lights come on, and you know, it's a little bit a different story. We're a little bit extreme in terms of, you know, I don't think it's too extreme, but like we pull all of our equipment out every night. We scrub the floors, we squeegee the floors, we mop them every night. We don't have like once a week. A lot of restaurants do this once a week cleaning plan, where like we're gonna do this once a week, and we're gonna do this. But if you spend every day, our closing method is an hour and 30 minutes. If you take an hour and 30 minutes and everybody knows exactly what they're gonna do, you're not gonna have any buildup. You're not gonna have any. You know, I go into some restaurants, or you walk in and your feet stick to the floor. And it's like, man, just like, I understand if you're busy, like I get it. You know what I mean? Like if you're really busy, then in that case, hire a cleaning crew. Hire a crew that comes in after your cooks leave, right? Pay them. I mean, if you're doing $2 million a year, or $1.5 million, or you know what I mean, even $1 million, and you think it's too much for your staff to clean, then hire somebody. But for me,
have someone to do it for sure.
Do it. But for me, I don't. I mean, and the thing is that I think from a leadership perspective, I do everything that everybody else does. So that's why, like, when I open in the morning, I'm washing my own dishes.
Sure.
I clean bathrooms. I take out trash.
I do the same. Absolutely, yeah.
And the thing is that I think, like, when people see it, like when the staff or team members see me doing it, they're like, no, let me grab that, chef. Let me do it, chef. Like, I clean my own. Like, we don't have a window cleaning.
You do it.
I do it.
Yeah, I do it too. Yeah.
And it's because, like, for us, like, and we tell our staff this all the time, our customer service starts outside. And what I mean by that is that your windows need to be constantly clean. There should be no trash in front of your door.
Sure.
And it starts outside. So when you outside coming in, you walk into a beautiful, clean restaurant, and then that customer service starts. Welcome to Southern Luv. What can we make fresh for you? Would you like to try something? We let everybody try every single item. You don't have to buy a single thing from us. You want to come in and just try it, poke your nose in, try it. That's it.
It's free.
It's free.
Anyway,
it doesn't cost you anything. If you don't like it, you don't have to buy it.
This is really amazing. I know by fact because I told you I run a restaurant like you do for a couple years now. Couple years for 26 years, like, and 20 for you, I guess, right?
Years, yeah.
20 years. So, and you are always looking for lower your costs, right? And having more profit, maybe you can pay better the payroll, the salary, and stuff like this. And we are always looking to do something to have more profit in our business,
Sure.
to keep going. Because the restaurant industry, the profit is just between 4% and 6%. It's really, really low. What do you think? This is my first question.
Sure.
It's what do you think about ghost kitchen, cloud kitchen, virtual kitchen?
I started Fly Chicks out of a ghost kitchen. Ghost kitchens are amazing because you get to try and test the market without going and spending $250,000, $300,000 on a restaurant.
Yes.
So you get to kind of really get the feedback from the customer that's really desperately. Right, like as a chef, you desperately want to know if somebody really likes your product or not. But it's very smart because, like for us, I can run 2-3 different restaurants in under one roof.
Yes.
And I can maximize my labor. I can cross utilize my ingredients, and I can pay one occupancy cost. What I mean by that, when I say occupancy, I'm saying your rent, your
absolutely, yeah, it's the same capacity, same capacity,
so,
right?
I think what a lot of people try to stay away from is like, oh, that's too small, or like, oh, I don't want to do a ghost kitchen because it's temporary. But I think virtual kitchens to me are so much better to start. I would prefer a ghost kitchen over a food truck, and I've done both.
With you 100%, yes.
Because a food truck, my food trucks were like $65,000, $70,000 to build. So I would rather spend half that in a ghost kitchen, or pay a percentage of my sales to the ghost kitchen operator.
Yeah.
For food trucks, and I built food trucks, we did really, really well with them. But the cost of propane to fill up a 200-pound tank, you're dropping $230, $300 just in propane.
Yes.
For a gas station, just to park your bus or food truck at a gas station, they want a minimum of $150, $200 a day. A day. So that means that you've already spent $400 in gross revenue. $400 with zero gross revenue. So you need, in order for it to like make sense, you need to barely, just to cover those expenses, you need at least to have a $1,600 to $2,000 day.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
It's really hard, of course, yeah.
Right. I think that food trucks are not going to go away. I think they're still very cool. I'm a big food, truck customer. In terms of the ghost kitchens, I think DoorDash and Uber Eats, these guys did a great job in terms of allowing the customer a different avenue, different vehicle to be able to receive their food.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes for restaurants, that's 20, 30, 40% business that they would never even seen before.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm really all about ghost kitchens.
But right now, the thing is, you have a lot of restaurants are scared, to put a virtual kitchen in them store. So I still don't understand why, because a virtual kitchen being used, a new way to get, more money coming in your restaurant, because you have a lot of sometimes you don't have any customer between 2 to 5 stuff like this, and you can get some new order from.
Our biggest thing is how are we maximizing our kitchen?
This is the question.
Right?
Yes.
2 to 4 o'clock, right? You have 2 hours of complete dead time. Are you able to create a ghost kitchen brand where you're just serving smoothies, or you're serving something where, I mean, who's the king of this? Dunkin' Donuts right now. I see buy one get one free at 3 to 5:30. Nobody's buying coffee at the middle of the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
But you go now because you can get 2 coffees for $6, right? And you're just, all it is really just creating that demand and creating that easy accessibility for that customer to try it. Give them something that, I for example, I do milkshakes, are really, really, really good milkshakes.
I'm sure.
Right?
I'm sure.
And, my wife's like, hey, put milkshakes here, And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to put them here at Southern Luv. And the reason for it is, like, I think most people are scared of the operation.
Yeah.
So when you're saying, like, oh, well, we can add this brand to your kitchen, the manager is like, oh, I don't know if I can add another brand, like, because they don't understand, like, bro, you're already using lettuce. You're already using tomato.
All the stuff you already have it. Yeah.
All you're literally doing is putting it together and selling it. So, again, it's about being kind of a little bit more comfortable and stepping out of your
absolutely,
and letting the experts do what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so I'm sure your goal is to franchise this brick and mortar. Are you thinking about the new virtual kitchen you went to?
I am, yeah. So early this year, we launched a pop-up called Big E's Famous Mac and Cheese.
Okay.
And it really, really exploded. People just absolutely loved it. I mean, our mac and cheese is really good. We have the Notorious PIG, which has got pulled pork, bacon,
nice.
Sauteed onions,
nice.
Barbecue sauce. So we're gonna implement the Big E's Famous Mac and Cheese into as a ghost kitchen model, and then be able to offer it to other operators that can execute our product in our recipe book. Be able to offer it. I think we'd love to maybe do something with that. You guys, for sure.
Absolutely. And how many research you get in Google last month?
So for just for Big E's alone, last month we got 7,000.
Wow! Wow!
For Fly Chicks, we got 14,000. We just opened our site up. We had 1,000 site visits in just a few weeks.
Because people are
really waiting. Yeah, so I'm very excited. Believe me, guys, and thank God. And we have a lot of the Buccaneers football players. Yeah. They'll hit us up and be like, "Hey, are you cooking? Like, what are you making?" Like, we had a customer call me like a week ago, and she's like, "I heard you're opening. Are you guys open?" I'm like, "No, not yet. We're opening real soon." She's like, "Can you sell us something?" And I'm like, not yet, I really want mac and cheese. And I'm like, I'm trying, guys. So it's funny because we've really kind of established a cult-like following for the product, and we're super proud of it. So.
And people are really waiting for that. And I'm sure 100% you will be packed when you start. And so I wish you only the best for all this stuff, of course. And I have another question for you, and I will have another one.
Sure.
And
I'm here all day, man.
The next one is going to be, what do you think, about Google reviews? Other reviews you have. I'm not talking about, of course, we all have bad reviews, good reviews. I'm talking about some fake.
Okay, so like, for example, Fly Chicks is a 5-star rated on Google. The higher you are in the ranking, like the higher, like we have 5 stars because we give an excellent product, we give excellent service. Want to make sure that my restaurant is a 5-star rated restaurant. Expectations for our guest experience are really high. There is companies out there that will, if you pay them money, they'll give you Google reviews.
I know.
And they're fake.
Yes.
And I hate that because you're cheating. And it's not real. Same with Instagram followers.
Absolutely.
You can get 20,000 followers for $1,200. It's fake. It's not real. So I think Google reviews as an operator or as an owner are very, very important, right? Because and it's hard to respond to them, right? Because sometimes you might have a bad day, and sometimes it's not even so much the operator. Sometimes it's just the guest is having a bad day, right? Because people relate their food experience by their state of mind, their emotion. We train our staff that we have 15 minutes at $15. What I mean by 15 minutes at $15 is that we want to take you out of your world for 15 minutes, and you're spending $15 with us, and that's so important. So we want you to kind of step out of your whole entire day. And when you're enjoying our food and you're eating our food at Southern Luv or any one of our other restaurants, it's really, really taking you out of your world.
Absolutely.
And that's why we train our staff. It's 15 minutes or 15 days. You do not know what the person's going through. When I first started, I started really humbly. Like I started like no money, like no experience.
You know the name of the podcast is Less Than Zero.
Oh,
okay, this is the story. This is what I'm looking for, you know.
So I'll tell you how I got my very first start. I used to be I was working for, so really at an early age, I always loved cooking.
Okay.
And my parents are Jordanian. My dad was in the U.S. Army, so I'm an Army brat. So we moved and traveled everywhere. I lived in Germany, I lived in Jordan, I lived in Texas, I lived like all over the country. And you know, when my dad would come back from deployment, we'd have like these huge like barbecues and like these big family gatherings, right? And I would always like help my mom in the kitchen, and like I just love food because food brings people together.
Absolutely, yes.
You know,
Yeah.
in Arabic culture, as you know, Middle Eastern culture, like the whole entire visit is surrounded around the food.
Yeah.
It's all about food.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and like I just came back. I just came back from Jordan. I took my wife to Jordan, and we went to our family's old house.
She's American?
My wife is Colombian.
Colombian, okay.
Yes,
so she never been
A
there.
little spicy.
Okay.
I love her. Yeah, she's Jenny's
Okay.
She's really, really awesome.
Okay.
So she loved it. Jordan was amazing. I mean, you know, it's a beautiful country, a lot going on, very culinary. It's a melting pot of so many different cultures. Like, you know, there's Palestinians, there's Syrians, there's Iraqis, there's so like you get the best of everything because you're just in a big melting pot. So there's like, you know, megluba, which is a Palestinian dish. There's, you know, our national dish is mensef, which is the yogurt with the lamb and the rice. So everybody kind of brought their little things together, right? Like mlokhiyat, which came from
I love it anyway. Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So, and that's kind of what I wanted to do with Southern Luv. Like I wanted to bring like the United Nations of barbecue into one place.
Yes.
Right. That 15 minutes, $15 is so important to us because like when I first started, I started working at a convenience store to learn how to make like cut meat. I was like cutting meat.
Yeah.
And then I would do like their prepared items. And then I got a job at the cell phone business. And
Nothing about restaurant. Okay.
yeah, nothing about restaurants. So we're gonna go sidetrack for a second. So I get a job. I meet a guy. His name is Sam. Mentored me. He kind of gave me a lot of my business confidence. Really came from him. He was like wildly successful. He owned a chain of cell phone stores. Right. Long story short, I was I think 17 or 18, just getting out of high school.
Okay.
And I went to him. I said, look, man, I'm making all this money for you. I want to do my own thing. He said, look, you have my support 100%. You know, if you need to call vendors, use my name, like whatever you need, I got you.
Okay.
All right. I had $6,800.
$6,800. Okay.
$6,800.
Okay.
All right. All the money that I had. I begged every cell phone company and their mother just to give me a credit line, you know, because at that time when you're selling T-Mobile, you had to buy the phones up front.
It's a lot of money.
As a dealer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like now where you go and you buy $1,000 phone and they finance it for you for the next 36 months or whatever it is, right? Back then you had to pay up front for it. One company took a chance on me and they gave me a $10,000 credit line, and that's how I got my start. You know, because I've always wanted to be in the restaurant business, but restaurants cost money. My parents are both immigrants. Like they're not. Sometimes the advice that you get, that's not their business. That's not what they do.
No,
you know what I mean?
sure. Yeah.
My dad's an army guy. My mom was a nurse. Like, you know what I mean? Like
They work,
they work,
your job,
so, for me, it was just kind of like, you know, when I met Sam, my mentor, my future mentor, it was just like, wow, things like just really clicked for me. And then like, I've always been like a very charismatic, likable guy.
Yeah.
So, like, people, I think your attitude has a lot to do with that.
Sure.
You know, I always just kind of had that vision of like, I want to open a restaurant, I want to do a restaurant. We lived in the South Side, which was a really, really rough, bad neighborhood in upstate New York.
Okay.
Gang violence, drug violence, like we like lived in the heart of it. I don't know why my parents picked it. I'm sure they were like on a budget, but we were in the worst part of town you could be in. My goal when I was younger was like, man, the food sucks here. Like, it's just like, I want to open up a restaurant. I want to have the best food at the lowest price, and I want to be fast.
Awesome.
And I want to be able to give that high level quality service or high level quality product without being a fancy restaurant.
Yeah.
And 20 years later, we're still doing the same mission of being able to provide a really amazing quality meal, really great customer service. And we want to be able to have that relationship with every guest. You know, I work open to close, so I'm spending more time with my team members
than my family.
That's my own family. You know, that's hospitality, right? The word you know what I mean? Like that's what it is.
We do the same.
And you know, I think like for us, our biggest give back and mission is to be able to feed homeless people, It's not, some operators go into restaurant business, or some investors will go and invest in restaurants because they want to make profit. And I'm not sitting here telling you like I do this for free, because I don't.
No, nobody
does it for free, right?
Not.
But the reality of it is that we want to be really big because we want to be able to get back. The more that you make, the more you can give.
Absolutely, yes.
And after going through all the great successes and highs, sometimes we have lows. And I've been through those lows. I've been through the pandemic where like our distribution business like completely tanked. Partners, distribution partners that are like, all right, yeah, man, your volume's dipped. We don't want to do business with you anymore. Like, it's just not worth it for us. Or, you know what I mean? And now you got to start again. It's like, and people ask me all the time, like, man, like, are you crazy? Like, you're gonna jump back into the restaurant world? But the reality of it is I just love serving. I love being able to change somebody's day with a sandwich. Like,
this is amazing.
How amazing that is?
Absolutely,
like,
I know, yeah.
Give somebody something, really like affect their mood or affect their day just by serving something good.
That's it.
You're right. And as you know, Uber spent $10 billion to make people understand how to place an order with a phone, and how people, how restaurants work with it and stuff like this. And my big issue right now with all those companies, I thank them because they bring some new stuff. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But they have, taking 30 to 40% sometimes from restaurant.
I think sometimes restaurants they're losing money.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Yes,
they're losing money because
money,
for example, we sell our pulled pork sandwich for $8.50, right? Which is like really crazy.
Think about
take 30% off that. So $8, 30% would be $2.40, right? So that's $2.60 off that bill. Yeah. I don't have that type of margin. Uber, and I'm not knocking Uber or DoorDash, right? Because it's a platform, right? Right?
Course, yeah.
When you're talking about 30%, the explanation is, well, that's 70% more gross revenue that you didn't have. Well, I don't care how much gross revenue I have. What's my bottom line?
Yes, this is a question.
I can do $1 million, but if I'm paying $1 million, then I'm just working for nothing. It just doesn't. So
this is really quick and easy explanation you can give to a restaurant owner, and you have a lot of restaurants saying also the same thing, saying, yeah, but Mohamed, they're bringing a lot of customers to me, but.
Customer.
So, okay.
But it's not your customer. You don't have their data.
Yes,
you're
not your customer.
It's not your. Yes. You're paying Uber 30% for their customer acquisition. You're paying them to acquire your customer. That's not your customer. And I know there's a lot of people that have the tricks where they'll put their phone number, staple that to the bag. And it's like, dude, that's not. You think
nothing gonna change.
Rip it off, right? And it's going straight to the trash.
Nothing gonna change.
It goes from now 30% to now you're wasting extra marketing materials that are not going to help you. I think the reality of it is a lot of restaurants do handicap it by upcharging the product, right?
This is true. Absolutely true.
And I think that you should. I think that you have to, right? Because I think Uber and DoorDash has done a good job of making the customer pay for convenience.
Yes.
And if you don't want to get out of your car and you don't want to come to the restaurant and pick it up, you should pay a premium, right?
For sure.
But is it 30%? I think 30% is really crazy. I think it's hurting the restaurant.
It's hurting the restaurant. And when I say 30%, you have to. I didn't count on this. The tablet you have to pay.
Oh, they charge tablets?
weekly.
That's crazy.
And the tablet they cost them maybe $10-$20, to get it.
And how much is it a week?
It's between $4 to $7 a week.
Yeah, so that's an extra $30 a month, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say you wanted to work with Toast with Uber, you have to pay $30 extra every month. Every month.
Right.
So crazy.
And you want that integration because otherwise,
of course.
Yeah. Otherwise, operationally, you're literally going to have to transfer every single order into your POS system. Otherwise, you're not going to have accurate accounting.
You're right. Yeah.
So you almost have to pay the integration. So it's like you're paying 30% plus you're paying the tablet plus you know what I mean.
And I'm not I did a big research on all this company because we run HeyJag and we want to help restaurants. We'll talk about this just later. But the thing is, when you take 30% and even if you're a customer, you order through your restaurant, and I say, listen, Uber, it wasn't good. I want to be refunded. I want to have my refund. Uber will right away give them a refund.
That's right.
But you don't know about this refund.
I don't
You
know
have
the customer
no,
experience.
of
I
course.
only know what I'm
You have to go online
Correct.
and see your profile or dashboard or stuff like this, and you can see, yeah, okay,
And the customer now has
A bad experience.
a bad
from the
experience,
store.
and then they're going to go straight to Google and say, "Hey, you know what? I just ordered from this place.
Yes.
It completely sucks." And
Yes.
it's well, the driver took 40 minutes. It's
cold and soggy. I didn't send it that way.
this is the thing, because we don't have a lot of control on this.
Correct.
And this is what we want to provide to restaurants, and when you don't have a control about driver, because when you pay driver, let's say between 199 and 250, so I can understand sometimes they're a little bit, they took the food and just go and eat it somewhere, and there's a customer, I didn't get the food, and
Yeah.
so, and I think we are trying to make a little bit, not a big change, not a small change. I'm talking about you, about us,
Sure.
because we want to be all together to build a community. This is my big word, big community, build a community all together and see how we can make those change. Maybe one day we can make Uber lower than price,
I think it's definitely very possible.
They have to do it anyway, and I wish other company like
The restaurants need to unite together.
Yes.
It doesn't work if everybody's on their own and they're all like
You're right.
individually doing their own thing.
You're right.
I think if we can unify somehow,
Right?
we will.
We will.
Because we already talk about it,
If-
you and me,
if
we
Hey,
can
Dad and Southern Luv
we
are taking
we
over the
can
world,
we
that's
can
fine.
do it,
Yes.
let's say something, you talk about something nobody are talking about it. It's about food waste.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about food waste, I'm talking about unsold food
Unsold
waste,
food, yes.
Yeah. And this kind of thing, I think it's our job, our role, as a company like Hejag, as to be partner all together. And we have, like I said, we have Jag Hero.
Yes.
It's helping restaurant to sell the unsold food or give it to someone for free,
Yes.
through the story. Right now we have this, Instagram and all this stuff, trying to see a lot of different video. It's social media. It's media, but not really social anyway. But we try to make a change. And I think you are in the best position with this company, with all the stuff you already did, and because you are, we didn't talk about it, but you are a consultant too.
Yes.
For restaurant, and I'm sure you talk about all this stuff.
I do. Yeah, I don't. So, for a lot of our, consulting side of things, I've done a lot of brand development, even new startup brands. I've done operations manuals. I've done operations. I've done, so we've had, clients where their food costs would be in the 40s.
Yeah.
We'd bring them from the 40s to 28, 27. They have like a really crazy labor, 55% labor. We bring them down, and it's really kind of understanding the operations and what are the needs of the business first. And I think sometimes restaurant operators are really,
They pay very close attention to the customer.
and the customer says, hey, you should do X, Y, and Z. You should do this. You should do that. You should add this to your menu. And then you start kind of listening to it. And then what happens is it doesn't really fit the actual function of the restaurant.
Yeah.
Food waste, and you have unsold food. This is something that if I'm on a budget and I know that I can go to Southern Luv and get a mac and cheese bowl for like half off because whatever they want to do it. Now, it's a little bit different for us because we make everything to order. So like our mac and cheese bowls are made to order. So we don't have food waste like that, like on that specific item, right? But sometimes you might have some excess pork, or sometimes you might have some excess, chicken breast.
Where there's nothing wrong
Or
with
maybe
the product.
customer order
Or
didn't
maybe
come
the
to pick
customer
it
didn't
up. Yeah.
Right?
One of the things that I don't like about doing Uber Eats is sometimes, we'll get a message and says that the Uber driver is on its way 5 minutes out. So you have prepared the meal.
Yes.
The guy just show up for 40 minutes. So now I feel bad.
Because you wait for the driver come to pick up the
Correct.
food. Yeah.
And now,
I have to go and remake that order. Customer doesn't know that I remade it. I didn't have to remake it, right? But I know if the customer gets
experience,
it,
yeah.
experience is going to suck. Even though it's not my fault, I, as an operator, I'm still
You have to.
responsible because it's still my brand,
Yeah.
right? Partnering together on those certain things, we're 100% down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because what you're doing is
it's crucial.
We try to really connect everybody together. Like like to be in our platform as a driver, you have to respect the customer and the restaurant.
Sure.
If you want to be a restaurant in our app, you have to be a good restaurant, respect your customer, like exactly what you're saying right now. If you have to remake the food because a driver,
Just make
and
it happen.
I thought I was only the one doing stuff
No.
like this, because right now, we have a restaurant in Boynton Beach, and absolutely I don't accept, if the pizza is there, for example, for 30 minutes and nobody come to pick it up. So it's not happened, but no way, I have to remake it. That's it.
That's it.
And I get it, because as the years progress, right, you start kind of learning and doing more, and every day you learn more. And the more people you interact with, like, there's a lot of things that I'm going to learn from you.
Sure. Me too. Absolutely.
Right, there's a lot of things that I'm going to be able to bring to your table as well. I think sometimes you're so hyper focused on the cost of food.
Yes.
And like, for example, a pizza maybe cost you $4 to make it, right? And the customer paid $14 for it.
Yeah.
If you know that the product is bad, right? It's cold, it sucks, just remake it.
That's it.
Just lower your margin
That's
for that
it.
one customer.
That's
You know
it.
what I mean? It's that simple. But
Sometimes you go into a restaurant and they have the attitude of like, no, I won't do that. The customer is not always right. And I had this interview question, and I always ask it, because our team members, I think out of 200 in 2 weeks, we had over 200 people apply.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
pretty good.
Huge.
Right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank God.
Out of the 200, I think we only hired 2 people, because I asked a series of questions that are really geared towards your personality and attitude versus your actual experience. Restaurant operators usually hire based on experience, but what happens is they don't know much about the personality. They don't know much about the actual thing that motivates the person to come to work. So I asked one question, everybody the same question. The question is the customer always right? More than 50% says no. Those people are not on my. I shouldn't probably share that, right? Because that's
Of course,
But
Share it.
but for me, when you have such a short answer, that means that you don't have the patience to deal with a guest experience.
Absolutely, yes.
So that bunch that answers no, the customer is not always right, we don't even take them to the next hiring level. The customers that say yes right away,
We also look at that.
Sure.
right? Because it's like, well, how so? The answer that I'm looking for is yes, but. So we have something that we do. We call it a TO. It means turnover. So when you're in our restaurant, if you hear the word TO, that means the manager needs to stop what they're doing and they come in.
The employee is turning over the customer.
Okay.
And we do this immediately. You have a situation at our restaurant, right? And you're waiting too long for your food. You start complaining. Rather than me as a cashier dealing with you as the customer, because you might not know how to, I might not know how to handle
this
situation.
Of course,
All the cashier just yells out TO, chef TO. And I come over right away and I say, here, can I fix it?
That's it.
Because it's so, I think what a lot of management does sometimes in the restaurant world is the manager is kind of like looking for the front end people, the guys that are like cashiers or guys that are like
Directly dealing with the customer, they want them to make resolutions.
and those aren't the right people to do
No,
resolutions.
of course not. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? They don't have that level of experience yet to deal with an angry customer. I can count on my hands how many bad experiences I've encountered throughout 20 years of my restaurant. Now, but that's me working every single
Of
day,
course,
open
yes.
to close,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And obviously, when I'm not in that restaurant, there is more situations that occur, right? And then you're relying on your management team or leadership team to go and help you with those decision making. But we have a very simple process here. Just call out for a TO.
Tio, that's it.
This is good process.
Yeah.
Really good process.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for everything.
Yeah.
Now I really want to, with you, to introduce your
Brand?
the brand.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey folks, welcome back to Southern Love. We're definitely raising the bar in barbecue. I want to go over some of our really, really great menu items. So we're going to start off with our breakfast options. We open at 7 a.m. We have a fresh breakfast, that's fresh eggs. We have the Southern Pride, it's eggs, crispy bacon, smoked sausage, cheddar on a brioche bun. For lunch, you can definitely stop in for that Cali. You got a smoked chicken breast, bacon, lettuce, tomato, onion, avocado, scratch-made ranch drizzle. We're not talking about Hidden Valley. We're making scratch-made ranch, fresh dill, fresh chives. Everything is made from scratch from our sandwiches. We got the Alabama Slammer, which is pulled pork, bacon. All of our barbecue sauces are made in-house. We make our own beef jerky. We make our own meat snacks. These are great, amazing meat snacks. And we make some really, really, really good beef jerky, guys. I cannot wait to serve you guys. We have ribs Fridays and Saturdays only. We do a St. Louis rib. It's only available Friday and Saturday till sell out. And then you got to talk about our mac bowls. These are absolutely amazing. It's scratch-made mac and cheese. We have the Notorious PIG, which has got pulled pork, sauteed onions, barbecue sauce with that scratch-made mac and cheese. So you have a fresh baked bowl every single time you order it. It's all made to order. We cannot wait to serve you guys soon. Look forward to it.